welcome to the deep dive. And hey, if you're joining us today over on Reading Cowboy's YouTube channel, you're definitely in the right spot. Our whole mission here is, well, pretty simple. We wade through all the latest research, the articles, the science notes, and we basically pull out the absolute must-know bits of knowledge and insight for you.
Think of it as your shortcut.
Exactly. A shortcut to being genuinely clued in. We aim for those surprising facts, maybe a few aha moments, and hopefully just enough, humor or relatability to keep things engaging. So let's kick things off with something I think almost everyone can relate to. Something we do probably multiple times a day, often without even thinking. The scroll.
Ah, yes, the endless scroll.
Glad journey, right? Through Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever your feed is. It feels pretty harmless, doesn't it?
Totally. Just a way to pass 5 minutes, kill some time.
Yeah, catch up on friends, maybe laugh at a meme, find some quick entertainment. But here's the thing that's kind of unsettling. What if that scroll, that seemingly innocent habit, is actually, quietly rewiring our brains?
That's the core question, isn't it?
What if it's genuinely reshaping our mental landscape?
Yeah.
How we feel, our emotions, maybe even how well we can focus. We're only just starting to really get a handle on it.
It is fascinating. And a little bit scary, perhaps.
It really is.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We want to pull back the curtain, look at the actual science behind social media, how it really affects our minds, our emotions, even the fabric of our daily lives.
Oh, right. It's not just about screen time numbers, is it?
No, not at all. It's deeper. It's about the actual chemistry in your brain, those neural pathways. They're constantly being shaped by every swipe, every little video you watch.
These invisible forces just always working on us.
Precisely. We're here to shine a light on those.
And it's funny, we're called digital natives, right? Born into this world of constant connection. This tiny device links us to billions.
Unparalleled connectivity.
But here's the paradox so many people feel, myself included sometimes. How can this thing designed to connect us actually leave us feeling more, disconnected or anxious or even depressed?
It's a huge contradiction.
Yeah, it's a real puzzle. And that's what we want to break down today. Make it easy to grasp, hopefully entertaining too. We really want you to understand the why behind these feelings. It's not some personal failing, It's a challenge of the times we live in.
Exactly. And for everyone tuning in, especially on Reading Cowboy, our commitment is straightforward. We want to get you informed quickly, but thoroughly, give you those real aha moments without, drowning you in data.
No information overload here.
Right. The goal isn't just listing facts. It's about giving you practical, immediate tips and insights. Things you can actually use, maybe starting today or this week, to build a healthier relationship with your digital life.
Because knowing why gives you the power to choose differently.
Informed choices are empowered choices. That's the idea.
Okay, so what's on the agenda? What are we actually going to unpack? We'll start with the brain chemistry, right? The science bit, especially dopamine, and how different parts of your brain actually react when you pick up your phone.
The neuroscience behind it all.
Then we connect the dots, link these brain changes to some really big mental health challenges we're seeing more and more, things like anxiety, depression, even ADHD, and that really worrying trend of body dysmorphia.
It's a journey right into how our minds are interacting with this digital world, the good and the bad.
Definitely.
And crucially, like we said, we won't just leave you with the problems. That's not helpful. We'll arm you with real strategies, actionable things you can do right away.
Stuff that works.
Yeah, evidence-based stuff, simple daily habits, maybe bigger changes involving tech itself, even how community support fits in.
The aim is really to empower you, give you the tools to take back control, find that balance.
One mindful choice at a time. That's the path forward.
Okay, let's really get into it then. The nuts and bolts. How does this invisible hook actually work in our brains? Our starting point has to be dopamine nation. That's the powerful concept from Dr. Anna Lembke, the Stanford psychiatrist. Her book, Dopamine Nation, Finding Balance in the Age of Indulgence. It just lays it all out so clearly, this crucial and often yet destructive role dopamine plays in our modern world. It's not just a feel-good chemical, is it?
No, not at all. It's much more fundamental. Dopamine is basically the key neurotransmitter involved in addiction. But let's be clear, it's not inherently bad. Our brains need it. They naturally release dopamine for things vital to survival.
Right, like back in caveman days.
Exactly. Think about it. Finding food when you're starving, finding shelter, finding a mate. These things ensured our species continued, so our brains evolved to give us a hit of pleasure, a dopamine reward for doing them. It makes us want to repeat those crucial behaviors. It's ingenious, really.
A biological incentive program.
Pretty much. A very effective one that's worked for millions of years.
But we're not exactly cave dwellers anymore, are we? Struggling for survival daily.
Far from it. We live in this age of, well, unprecedented abundance, instant gratification everywhere.
And Lemke argues this very abundance makes all of us vulnerable to dopamine-driven addiction. It's not just certain people.
And the surprising, or maybe not so surprising, drug of choice for so many, it's the internet, it's social media.
Even if we don't consciously think of it that way, I remember she joked something like, if you're not addicted yet, don't worry, it's coming soon to a website near you.
Yeah, it's a telling joke because it highlights how pervasive this is. It's everywhere.
Okay, so the delivery mechanism is key here, right?
Yeah.
How we get this digital dopamine.
Absolutely fascinating. And quite chilling, actually.
Yeah.
Lemke uses this really powerful analogy. Think about a hypodermic needle delivering drugs straight into the bloodstream, bypasses natural barriers, hits the brain fast and hard. Maximum impact.
Okay.
The smartphone, she argues, is the modern-day hypodermic needle. It's designed to deliver digital dopamine for a wired generation.
Wow. That's a strong comparison.
It is, but it captures the efficiency, the directness, the sheer potency of how these devices hijack our brain's reward system. Makes them incredibly hard to resist.
And when you think about the actual experience of using the phone,
Yeah.
it makes sense. It's a sensory explosion almost.
Totally. Bright colors, flashing lights, those little notification sounds.
Ping. Yeah. And that endless stream of content like TikTok, it literally never runs out. You could scroll forever.
Always something new. Always stimulating.
So you have this super easy instant access combined with this speedy, unpredictable reward.
And those are two massive, well-known risk factors for addiction in any context.
The easier and faster the hit, the more addictive it becomes.
Precisely. It creates this incredibly powerful feedback loop that's just really hard to step out of.
So why is social media especially addictive? It's not just the dopamine hits themselves.
It goes deeper. It taps into something fundamental about being human. Our need to connect. We are profoundly social creatures. It's kept us alive for millennia. Cooperation, tribes, families.
Safety in numbers.
Exactly. So our brains naturally reward us with dopamine when we make real human connections. It reinforces that vital behavior. But social media apps, they've cleverly, maybe even manipulatively, drugified this essential need.
How do you mean drugified?
They've taken that natural reward and amplified it, made it more intense, more constant, and in many ways, more artificial. Okay.
So they amplify the feel-good parts.
Yes. They engineer the experience to cause the release of large amounts of dopamine all at once. Lemke directly compares it to heroin, meth, or alcohol in terms of the dopamine flood.
That's stark, comparing an app to heroin.
It is stark, but it drives home the neurological power these platforms wield. It's not a gentle nudge, it's a engineered dopamine surge designed to keep you coming back.
And then there's the novelty factor too, right? Our brains love new things.
Oh, absolutely. Dopamine is strongly linked to our brain's search and explore functions. It's the chemical signal that says, hey, pay attention, something new. Our brains are wired to seek out novelty. It was crucial for survival, finding new food sources, spotting dangers.
And social media feeds are basically endless novelty generators.
Perfectly engineered novelty generator. That's where the AI comes in.
The algorithms.
They learn you. Everything you like, linger on, react to.
They know us better than we know ourselves sometimes.
Perhaps. And then they feed you stuff that's similar to what you like, but not exactly the same, always slightly new.
Keeps you guessing, keeps you searching.
Keeps you hooked. Keeps you off and running, as Lemke puts it. Chasing that next little hit of something interesting.
Like a personalized hamster wheel.
A very engaging personalized hamster wheel.
So this leads to a really important question. What are the long-term effects of this constant dopamine flood? What happens inside the brain?
Right. The brain is incredibly adaptive. It strives for balance, for homeostasis. When it's constantly swamped with these unnaturally high dopamine levels, it compensates, it downregulates.
Meaning it produces less dopamine.
It reduces dopamine transmission, yes. But crucially, not just back to the normal baseline, it often dips below the baseline.
Below. Why?
It's overcorrecting, trying to regain equilibrium in the face of this relentless stimulation. Think of it like your tolerance going up. You need more of the stimulus just to feel normal or even okay.
So what does that actually feel like day to day?
Repeated exposure leads to what Lemke calls a chronic dopamine deficit state.
Okay.
In this state, your brain literally finds it harder to experience pleasure from normal everyday things.
Like what?
Simple stuff. A good meal, a walk outside, hanging out with friends, reading a book. Things that used to feel naturally rewarding now feel, muted, less satisfying.
That feeling of boredom or restlessness when you're not stimulated?
Exactly. A kind of underlying anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure from usually enjoyable activities.
And that explains why social media often feels good while we're doing it, but horrible as soon as we stop.
Precisely. When you put the phone down, you're left in that dopamine deficit state. Your brain is literally craving the next notification just to get back to a baseline level of pleasure that's been artificially lowered by the constant scrolling.
Wow. It's a vicious cycle. The thing you're using for pleasure actually makes it harder to feel pleasure elsewhere.
That's the cruel irony of it. You're constantly chasing a feeling that the platform itself has eroded your ability to experience naturally.
You know, it's not just social media in general. What about specific types of content? Like these super short videos everywhere now. Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts. You might think, oh, I'm just watching a few funny clips. Seems harmless enough.
But neuroscientists are really starting to sound the alarm specifically about this short-form content.
Really? Why?
Well, several studies now suggest these videos trigger our brain's reward pathways in ways that are startlingly similar to addictive substances. Some even compare it to alcohol.
Like alcohol. That's intense.
It is. Neurologists, for instance, in India, are warning about potential long-term rewiring, affecting our motivation, our focus, even our memory. The brain adapts, remember, but not always for the better.
Is there solid research on this?
Yes. Definitely. There was a peer-reviewed study in a major journal, Neuroimage. Professor Chan Wang was the lead. They found that heavy users of these short videos showed significantly increased activity in those reward pathways.
The same ones involved in other addictions?
The exact same circuits that light up in studies of alcohol addiction or gambling addiction. The neurological signature is remarkably similar.
So it's not just entertainment, it's tapping into something much deeper, more primal.
That's the concern. Professor Wang actually called short-form video addiction a global public health threat.
Wow, strong words.
Very. He highlighted how this constant high-intensity, instant reward cycle doesn't just mess with attention and sleep, but it also significantly increases the risk of developing depression. The knock-on effects are huge.
Okay, so let's get specific. How does this play out inside the brain? Which parts are really taking a hit?
Dr. Kunal Bharani, a neurologist who speaks on this a lot, points to two critical areas. First, the prefrontal cortex. Think of this as your brain's CEO.
The boss.
Exactly. It handles attention, self-control, planning, decision-making, all the sophisticated stuff. With the constant switching between short videos, the rapid-fire information, we're basically overworking it, taxing it constantly.
And that's bad because
this part of the brain is still developing right up until your mid-20s. Chronic overuse, especially during development, might actually cause it to, shrink or develop atypically.
Seriously.
That's the concern raised by some researchers. And any impact there is going to affect your day-to-day functioning, your ability to focus and make good decisions.
Okay, that's one area. What's the other?
The second is the hippocampus. This is deep inside, crucial for memory.
Turning short-term memories into long-term ones. Learning.
Precisely. Memory consolidation and learning. And nighttime scrolling, which so many people do.
Guilty. Huh.
Well, the blue light, the constant stimulation, it seriously messes with sleep quality.
And bad sleep equals bad hippocampus function.
Direct link. When sleep is disturbed, the hippocampus can't do its job properly. That's why people who binge on Reels often complain they can't focus, they forget things easily, learning feels harder. Their inherent learning power weakens, as Dr. Bharani puts it.
So beyond the thinking part, prefrontal cortex, and the memory part, hippocampus, what about the deeper, more emotional driving part to the brain?
Right. For that, we need to look at the mesolimbic circuit. That's the core reward pathway. Heavily involved in addiction, it's a network, not just one spot. Key players include the nucleus accumbens, that's the main pleasure center, feels good, thank the NF-NAC.
Yeah.
Then the anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC, that's involved in self-control, weighing risks and rewards.
The sensible part.
Kind of, yeah. And then there's the amygdala. This is fascinating. It links things in our environment to emotions. Fear, desire, excitement. It attaches feelings to experiences and feeds into that reward system.
And there's research connecting the amygdala specifically to phone use.
Yes, quite compelling research. An MRI study on adolescents Timofeeva and colleagues found a really significant link. Higher smartphone dependence correlated directly with what they called hypercentrality of the right amygdala.
Hypercentrality. What does that mean in plain English?
It basically means the amygdala had much stronger, more numerous connections to other parts of the brain, especially within that reward network.
Like it's got superhighways leading to it and from it.
That's a great way to put it. It suggests this emotional hub, the center of desire and alarm, is sort of over-connected, oversensitized in people with higher phone dependence.
Shouting, want, ladder.
Pretty much, making it harder to ignore the urge, the pull of the phone. And this lines up with other studies in adults too, showing a hyperactive amygdala in social media addiction.
So if the amygdala is the wanting part, this constant reward makes it hypersensitive.
That seems to be the case. It leads to this constant desire to enact the addictive behavior, like a perpetual itch in your brain demanding to be scratched by picking up the phone.
And this specific study found the amygdala connection was stronger than connections with the reward center itself or the self-control part.
In that particular adolescent study, yes. The amygdala and ACC links weren't as strongly correlated. It highlights the amygdala's potentially crucial role as that emotional bridge to the reward system in smartphone dependence.
Could it be that some people are just wired that way, more prone to this? Or does the phone use cause the change?
That's the million-dollar question. It could be a predisposition, or it could be that excessive use literally strengthens and builds these connections over time. Probably a bit of both, a complex feedback loop.
Okay, so if our brains are genuinely changing, structurally and chemically, what does this look like in the real world? What are the actual consequences for our mental health, our daily lives?
Dr. Barani, the neurologist we mentioned, gives some pretty clear warnings. He suggests keeping screen time ideally under 2-3 hours a day for adults.
That seems low for many people.
It does, compared to typical usage, yeah. But he argues that beyond that, it starts becoming toxic for the brain. He calls that initial stage digital intoxication.
Digital intoxication, okay.
And if that goes unchecked, continues long-term, he warns it can progress towards something he descriptively calls digital dementia.
Dementia, like Alzheimer's.
No, it's not a formal diagnosis in that sense. It's more a term to describe a state of chronic overstimulation leading to really poor sleep, significant memory lapses, and a general cognitive decline. It's a worrying picture of what sustained digital overload can potentially do.
And we see the impact, especially in younger people, right? There's that really sobering data about adolescent mental health.
Yes, absolutely critical. Studies show these alarming, statistically significant increases in depressive symptoms, suicide-related outcomes, and tragically, actual suicide rates among U.S. teens. And the spike really took off after 2010.
Like when smartphones started becoming common.
The timing is undeniable. This surge is strongly linked in the research to increased new media screen time. Just one chilling statistic. Among teens using devices 5 or more hours daily, nearly half, 48%, reported at least one suicide-related outcome.
That's horrifying.
It is. And think about the adoption rate. And by late 2012, half of Americans had smartphones. By 2015, 92% of teens did. That period perfectly overlaps with the peak in adolescent depressive symptoms.
It's hard to ignore that correlation. But is it just correlation, or is there evidence it's causal? Does phone use cause depression?
Good question. It's complex, but evidence is mounting for at least some direct causality. Longitudinal studies tracking people over time found that using Facebook more frequently predicted a more negative mood later on. But importantly, feeling bad didn't necessarily lead to more Facebook use. The influence seemed to flow more from the platform to the mood.
Okay, that's interesting.
And experiments back this up too. When people were paid to quit Facebook for just a week, they reported significantly fewer depressive symptoms afterwards compared to a control group.
So taking a break actually helped.
It strongly suggests social media use can directly contribute to or worsen depressed moods for some individuals.
And sleep seems to be a huge piece of this puzzle, acting as a bridge between phone use and mental health issues.
A massive piece. Our study found a clear, strong, positive link. Higher smartphone dependence correlated with worse sleep problems. And then those sleep problems strongly correlated with more depressive symptoms.
The cascade?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Phone use disrupts sleep. Poor sleep makes you vulnerable. Vulnerability increases risk of depression.
That late night scrolling habit.
It's a killer for sleep. Even using your phone after lights out is linked to being more tired a year later.
Mhm.
It has lasting effects.
It's not just about feeling tired, though, is it? There's a physiological stress response happening, too.
Right. Excessive screen time causes chronic activation of the HPA axis, your body's main stress system, just like in substance addiction.
So your body is constantly in a low-level state of stress.
Essentially, yes. And this can mess with your cortisol levels, making it harder to recover from actual stressful events. You become less resilient, both physically and mentally.
Let's talk about attention spans. Because personally, I feel like mine is shot sometimes. Is that just me, or is this a real thing?
Oh, it's definitely a real thing. You are not alone. So many people report finding it harder to focus on longer tasks. Reading a book, watching a full movie without checking the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Max Zipperstein, a psychology teacher, explains it well. He says the constant barrage of information in a short period of time from things like TikTok conditions our brains. We get used to information in these tiny bite-sized portions.
So we lose the ability or the patience for longer stuff.
It hinders our ability to engage deeply, yeah. He argues it actually changes the wiring of our brains altogether, leading to a real decrease in attention capabilities, especially in teens and young adults.
And students themselves notice it.
They do. They report feeling more drawn to those short-term boosts of happiness from quick content and getting impatient with things that require sustained effort.
It's like we're training ourselves for distraction.
In a way, yes. And even just having the phone nearby, even if you're not using it, creates a distraction. It pulls cognitive resources just by being present, hampers concentration.
Okay, let's shift to social comparison. That feeling of looking at everyone else's perfect lives online.
It's brutal. Our brains fundamentally just aren't equipped to process the millions of comparisons the virtual world demands constantly.
Millions. Yeah, it feels like that sometimes.
And this relentless comparison can lead to feeling totally overwhelmed, inadequate, like learned helplessness. You see these seemingly perfect people who Lemke says exist only in the matrix of curated feeds, and you feel you can't measure up. It can lead straight to hopelessness and depression.
That feeling of never being good enough.
Mm-hmm. Social media fosters it by design, almost.
Yeah.
These idealized versions of reality breed loneliness, constant comparison, that awful FOMO fear of missing out.
And teens really tie their self-worth to likes and followers.
Tragically, yes. Many do. When a post doesn't perform well or gets negative comments, it hits hard. Triggers anxiety, feelings of rejection, deep self-doubt. It's a very public form of validation or invalidation.
Does it affect boys and girls differently?
Often, yes.
Yeah.
The pressures manifest differently. For females, research often links it more to heightened anxiety, disordered eating due to those impossible beauty standards, and depression. Cyberbullying stress is also often higher. For males, the pressure might be more around perceived lack of success, status, or physical fitness. This can contribute to body dissatisfaction, things like muscle dysmorphia, obsessing about not being muscular enough.
And societal pressure often stops boys from talking about it, too.
Exactly. Discouraging them from seeking support makes it even harder.
Speaking of body image,
Yeah.
those filters and AI editing tools seem to be creating new problems. Snapchat dysmorphia.
Yes, that's the term being used. It's where people seek cosmetic surgery not to look like a celeb, but to look like their own filtered selfies.
Wow. To look like an edited version of themselves.
Precisely. And AI-enhanced images raise the bar impossibly high for what surgery can even achieve. This leads to disappointment when reality can't match the filter.
Is there a direct link shown between selfies, filters, and wanting surgery?
Yes, studies show frequent social media use, especially taking and viewing selfies, directly correlates with more body dissatisfaction in teens considering cosmetic procedures. Constantly seeing an idealized version, even of yourself, warps perception.
And then there's the really dark side, cyberbullying.
A huge problem. Online anonymity often emboldens perpetrators. They feel they can evade accountability, leading to much more aggressive, cruel behavior than face-to-face.
And the impact on victims is severe.
Devastating, significantly higher risk of self-harm, suicidal thoughts.
And it's so public, so permanent sometimes.
Exactly. The potentially unlimited audience, the fact that harmful messages can spread rapidly, be viewed repeatedly, and sometimes stay online even after reporting, it creates these long-lasting emotional scars. Content moderation struggles to keep up.
What does that do to the victims long term?
Leads to social isolation, intense anxiety, depression, poor academic performance, contributing to chronic psychological distress that can last for years.
Okay, let's touch on connections to specific conditions. How does all this interact with things like ADHD or autism?
It's complex. For ADHD, screen time often makes symptoms worse. More impulsivity, inattention, hyperactivity. Neurologically, it seems linked to dysregulation in dopamine pathways. That idea of an attenuated tonic and enhanced phasic release, basically. Less steady focus, more craving for big, quick bursts of stimulation, which screens provide perfectly.
And the constant switching overloads the prefrontal cortex, which is already a challenge area in ADHD.
Exactly. For autism spectrum disorder, ASD, it's nuanced. Online communication can feel safer for some, removing sensory overload or tricky face-to-face cues, a haven, as some describe it. But challenges exist too, misinterpreting digital cues like sarcasm or emojis, and the risk of hyperfixation leading to excessive screen time is real.
Is there a link between early screen time and ASD diagnoses?
Some studies suggest a correlation between early exposure and increased diagnosis risk, or altered neural development. But it's complex. It could also be that individuals predisposed to ASD naturally find screen interactions more predictable and gravitate towards them. It might be bidirectional.
What about bipolar disorder?
That's another complex interaction. During mania, impulsivity can lead to risky online behaviors, oversharing, compulsive spending causing regret later in depressive phases. Emotionally charged content can trigger mood swings. And critically, excessive screen time disrupts sleep and circadian rhythms, which are known powerful triggers for both manic and depressive episodes.
It's also interesting you mentioned gender differences earlier, that females tend to show higher phone dependence.
Yes, that's a consistent finding in many studies.
And it lines up with the broader trend where the post-2010 rise in teen depression was driven almost entirely by girls.
It does align. One theory is about motivations. Women often report more socially related motives for phone use connection, validation. Men might have more utilitarian or entertainment motives, gaming, info seeking.
Different reasons, leading to different patterns of problematic use.
Potentially, yes. Understanding these differences is key for tailoring support effectively. A girl struggling with comparison needs different help than a boy addicted to gaming, perhaps.
Okay, wow. That's a lot to take in. But let's pivot to solutions. Because after hearing all that, people need hope, right?
Yeah.
What can you, the listener, actually do right now?
Absolutely. And the good news is there are clear antidotes, practical things. Dr. Lemke, back to Dopamine Nation, she strongly recommends a timeout, a break from your digital drug.
A digital detox. How long?
She suggests at least a day, but ideally a whole month if you can, specifically to reset our dopamine reward pathways.
A whole month. That sounds intense.
It can be, but she calls it a dopamine fast. The goal isn't punishment, it's healing. It can genuinely decrease anxiety and depression. And crucially, it helps enhance our ability to enjoy other more modest rewards again. It resensitizes your brain to natural pleasures.
Recalibrating your joy dial, like you said earlier. And if a full month isn't feasible, or when you come back, how do you engage more mindfully?
Be intentional. That's the key. Set boundaries. Consolidate your use. Maybe only check socials at specific times. Actively choose not to use those apps that suck you into the vortex, the endless scroll ones, and prioritize platforms or uses that connect you with real people in your real lives. Foster genuine connection, not just passive consumption.
Be the master, not the servant of the device.
Precisely.
What about some really practical start-today tips?
Max Zipperstein, the psychology teacher, has some great ones. Simple stuff. Put your phone on actual silent mode, no vibrate. Set app timers.
Yeah, those can be helpful.
Designate specific times just for social media. Or physically remove the temptation, put the device in another room while you work or study.
Out of sight, out of mind.
It helps. But his top tip, the most effective. Turn your phone off, place it in your backpack or somewhere out of reach. Create that physical and mental distance.
Break the instant access loop.
And even better, he suggests, distract yourself with having more human interaction. Talk to people, ask questions.
Connect in the real world.
Yeah, you may just learn a thing or two or form a connection by having a simple conversation. It feeds that social need in a healthy, natural way.
What about more structured help if someone feels really stuck?
There are therapies. For internet addiction, there's CBT-IA, cognitive behavioral therapy, adapted for this. It combines standard CBT to change thought patterns with harm reduction strategies, helps control compulsive use, tackles denial, treats related issues like anxiety.
Is it effective?
Very. One study showed over 95% managed symptoms, 78% stayed in recovery after 6 months. It really helps with anxiety and self-esteem, too.
And for conditions like autism, you mentioned social skills training.
Yes, SST uses things like role-playing, modeling, social stories to practice social skills in a safe space. Both in-person and tech-based versions work well, provides concrete tools.
Parents obviously play a huge role here, too.
Absolutely crucial. Open, supportive communication is key. It helps shape positive norms and makes kids feel safe reporting problems like cyberbullying, knowing they'll be supported, not blamed.
And setting limits is still important. Monitoring.
Yes, monitoring and limits are essential, restricting sites, checking activity, time limits. But how you do it matters. It has to be built on trust through honest discussions, not just spying. That fosters self-regulation.
What about schools? What can they do?
Schools are increasingly stepping up. Digital literacy programs are vital, teaching critical thinking about online info, responsible behavior. And social emotional learning, SEL, is huge, teaching self-management, responsible decision-making. These skills directly help prevent things like cyberbullying victimization.
And peers. Can friends help each other?
Definitely. Peer-led mental health groups, digital peer support. Sometimes hearing it from someone your own age makes the biggest difference. Shared experience is powerful.
It's interesting you mentioned AI earlier as part of the problem with algorithms. Can it be part of the solution too?
Absolutely. AI-powered content moderation is a key tool now. Using machine learning, natural language processing to spot and filter harmful stuff, bullying, hate speech, much faster than humans alone could.
Like Facebook's deep text.
Exactly. Systems like that. Many platforms use a hybrid approach now. AI does the heavy lifting. Humans provide oversight, handle nuance, bias checks. It's about combining strengths.
And technology can even be therapeutic. You mentioned a game for ADHD.
Yes. Endeavor RX. It's FDA approved. A game, but a therapeutic one. It uses gamified attention training, adjusting difficulty in real time to literally improve attention and reduce ADHD symptoms.
Training the brain through a game.
It's an innovative way to use technology as an ally in treatment. Really promising field.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive. We looked at how social media, smartphones, this whole digital world really gets into our brains. Hijacking dopamine pathways, changing the structure of key areas.
Prefrontal cortex, hippocampus, amygdala. We saw how they're affected.
And we connected those changes to real-world issues. How digital habits can worsen things like ADHD or body dysmorphia, definitely impact sleep and attention. And sadly, how they play a role in the rise of anxiety and depression, especially for young people.
It's a complex picture. But the key takeaway really is that social media isn't inherently evil, it's a tool. Its impact truly depends on how we use it, with intention, with boundaries.
And understanding all this, understanding the mechanisms, is incredibly empowering, isn't it?
Absolutely. Knowledge is power here.
Now you know why you might feel flat after scrolling, or why focus feels harder, and crucially, you know there are things you can do.
So many strategies. From those simple detoxes or mindful resets to using therapy, parental guidance, school programs, even helpful tech, a healthier digital life is achievable.
It's about being proactive, making conscious choices.
Taking back control, intentionally.
So as we finish up, here's a thought to leave you with, maybe something to mull over this week. In this world that's constantly fighting for your attention, constantly triggering that dopamine, what's one small dopamine fast, one tiny mindful change you could commit to trying? How will you actively work, starting now, to reclaim your brain's natural balance and maybe rediscover some joy in those simpler, more modest rewards life offers outside the screen?
It's worth thinking about.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this really essential deep dive into your digital brain.
Hope it was insightful.
We certainly hope so. We look forward to exploring more with you next time.